I'd like to begin this session on casting bullets by looking first of all at at the table. The casting table needs, at least in my opinion, needs to be something that is absolutely fireproof. You notice that this top on this table is metal. Here's why. No matter what you do, eventually you'll find yourself having hot lead on the table, and if that goes on wood, then invariably it will cause a great deal of damage. Little tools that are necessary for me in the casting. This one is primary. This is simply a piece of brass that I have sharpened to use to scrape lead off of the mold when it gets on there. You do not need to use steel. It will cause damage to the mold. These other things are just a little tool to pull lead out from under this area here, inside, whatever, to clean it up so you have room to work, or even to move something like this that we dropped out a moment ago. Whatever you have, it needs to be something that doesn't transfer heat. It needs to be something that doesn't transfer heat to your hand, but is easy to handle and usable. The molds, they'll vary in what you have and what you use. These are a lineup of custom molds, but one thing is important. Please always, when you're casting, when you finish your mold, leave them full of lead to keep moisture and so on and so forth out. This pot itself is an electric pot. I run it at 850 degrees, and that's a good hot casting temperature for me. It works very well. You do not want to go much higher. Lead tends to vaporize at, I think, around 900, so you want to be sure that you do not cross that threshold. I'm going to take this piece of lead that we dropped out a minute ago and simply drop it in the pot to get it out of the way, and to ensure that the fumes of the lead does not come in where we are. Now this is going to make noise. I have a vent system. You can probably hear the fan running that pulls the fumes up and outside. There is a fresh air vent here to make certain that you have a good source of air, and so you can keep things clean. When you come to things you need just to cast, there's not so much. You need some kind of a little pot or pan or something to take the slag, and I would recommend to you that you build you something just about like this to pick that slag out with. This is copper wire, just wound up around itself, and put in a wooden handle. Here's what it does. When you dip it into the lead and let it set a minute, it will let the lead go through it and come right off of it. It won't stick to it. It will for a moment, but you can use it and skim the slag off. And this pot just needs to be something that is not easily destroyed, and something that will just slide close to your work. Second thing, you're going to need just a pan to catch the spewers when you cut them off, and you'll need a hammer of some sort, some kind of a instrument to use when you're cutting the spewer. And oddly enough, I used to try to use a rawhide hammer till about 15 years ago. I was in a pet store and I found these very long rawhide bones, and I bought a couple of them, glued the ends of them together where they had cracks in them, and I've been using this one for the last 15 years, and they just simply do not wear out. That you need, and also If you're doing casting and you're making hollow point bullets, your mold will look like this. You will have a stem that goes down inside the mold, and you want it hot when you're working, and you don't want it damaged, so you don't want to lay it on your metal, so you just lay it right there on that piece of leather. As far as lubricant is concerned, when you start looking at casting, I use a mixture of moly and paraffin, and this stem won't do it, but when it's hot, I just drop it in there, and it melts some on it, and then you put it in the mold, and you're good to go. As far as fluxing goes, this probably is the poorest example I can give you, and that's paraffin. It's what I'm using now. You have to be careful. Too much of it will cause a very hot fire. All right, so that's about the rundown of things. On your mold, when you're heating up the pot, if your pot will let you, just put the mold over the pot like so, and let it heat up as the pot heats up. All right, that's segment one on the tools and things needed. One more most important item, and that's this. That's a good pair of working gloves. Now, one last thing. Don't expect to stay clean. That does not go with casting bullets. We'll look forward to the next segment. We'll cast some.